So much. Next up, we have Gregory Cendana to the stage.
I just want to give love to my sister Candy. She always brings the fire, and I'm so grateful to be in community with her. Greetings, fam. As a proud Filipinx American who is also gay and queer, I say mabuhay. During this Pride Month, I also want to lift up our ancestors and transcestors, Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, who led the Stonewall Uprising more than 50 years ago, and is the reason why we even celebrate Pride today. They were fighting police violence then, and it is also Black femmes and queers who are leading the uprisings and the movement for Black lives today. I am my wildest ancestors' dreams, and I am who I am because of them and those who came before us. My people are dancers, storytellers, and healers. My people believe nothing about us without us, and that justice should not be for just us. My people speak truth to power, bring their full selves in any place they are in, and believe in our power to organize, make change, and build transformative cross-racial solidarity. My remarks will be focused on institutional racism, the act of reproducing and perpetuating the idea of white supremacy in the creation, implementation, and reinforcement of policies and practices. Sometimes it is also known as structural or systemic racism. As I reflect about the last couple of weeks and the number of corporations and institutions who have released statements, announced changing their names or logos, painted their streets, or even hung up a banner, I also ask, are any of your senior leaders in your management and the C-suites Black outside of the diversity, equity, inclusion positions? Do you have any Black people on your board of directors or your trustees? Are you making financial commitments to Black communities that match your profit and their contributions to our communities? Institutional or structural racism requires solutions and actions that match the level of harm they have caused. In some cases, it can mean change, but in others, it means to defund, to abolish, and to create anew. Let's take a look at the institution of education. There is a lack of Black teachers and Black educators. In fact, Black teacher population is at 7%, while white women compose 76% of the teacher workforce. Black students who have a Black teacher in grades K through third grade are 7% more likely to graduate from high school and 13% more likely to enroll in college than their peers in the same school who are not assigned a Black teacher. We need more Black and people of color teachers and educators. If there are also more Black principals, more Black administrators, university presidents, chancellors, professors, it would mean not only higher rates of Black students graduating from high school and enrolling in college if they choose, it would also mean that there would be people with decision-making power to shift policies and practices within these institutions as well. Public school funding in the United States comes from federal, state, local sources, but because nearly half of those funds come from local property taxes, the system generates large funding differences between wealthy and impoverished communities. Such differences exist among states, among school districts within each state, and even among schools within school districts. Furthermore, we have been seeing the defunding of education with the increase of other systems like policing. With the demand from the Movement for Black Lives and their call to defund the police, we must also explore the institution of police. More than $100 billion is spent on policing a year. New York City alone has a police budget of $6 billion a year. Los Angeles, $1.5 billion a year. In Chicago, 40%, and in Oakland, 42% of their general fund goes to police. What people don't know is that policing has a history in slavery. It started in southern slaveholding states with slave patrols, which were made up of mostly of white folks who were empowered to use vigilante tactics to enforce laws. The reality is not much has changed. Now as police work to protect capital and not people. The first police forces were overwhelmingly white, male, and focused on responding to disorder than crime. And even today, a majority of police cover districts they do not even live in. Black folks are disproportionately murdered by police many times when these Black folks are unarmed. And for those who are able to make it alive, Black Americans are more likely than white Americans to be arrested. And once arrested, they are more likely to be convicted. And once convicted, they are more likely to face stiff sentences, adding to the alarming mass incarceration rates and the growing prison pipeline. Even through the turmoil, Black organizers are helping us reimagine our communities without policing. Reimagining a world that centers humanity, centers joy, and not profits, corporations, or property. Ashley Henderson of the Highlander says, "We are no longer willing to fund practices, policies, or personnel that create danger for Black people and deprive our communities of what communities of privilege have enjoyed in this country: basic rights, safety, and freedom." If you could reallocate $100 billion spent on policing a year to other things, what would those things be? We must invest in Black and people of color communities. We must invest in education, healthcare, job training, and protecting the environment. And this leads me to the last system I want to discuss: government, and the politics that elect officials who are supposed to represent us. I've been hearing a lot about the 2018 federal elections that brought us the most diverse Congress in the history of the United States. And even with such a historic election, Congress still remains to be 68% white. Yes, that is progress, but we have way, way too far to go. It is also these elected officials at all levels of government, from school boards to city council, to state legislatures, to Congress, who are making decisions about our budgets, who are making decisions about, should we fund the police or should we fund education and healthcare? While I'm about increasing diversity and representation of our elected officials, we cannot mistake representation or even access as power. We must elect folks who are anti-racist. We must elect folks who are grounded in community, who will work and co-govern with our movements and make sure that the most marginalized and directly impacted are at the center. This leads me to the 4 levels of solidarity from an organization in New York called They Cease Rising Up and Moving, or DRUM. The 4 levels are: 1, symbolic, verbally expressing, putting out signs or signing on into statements, wearing symbols or logos of solidarity, and in some cases, like some folks here, using Filipinx for Black lives or Asians for Black lives. There's also the 2nd level, transactional, often done between organizations and groups, and even exchange. So meaning, I go to your event, you come to my event. The 3rd level is embodiment. Individuals literally embody and live their vision and beliefs into the world. And the 4th, which many of us have been talking about, is transformative. And that's when masses of oppressed communities choose to forgo something that would benefit them and do not take it because it comes at the expense of other oppressed communities. We must honor and will honor the different stages that we enter, and are offering that you do the work to get to the transformative level of solidarity, that you create space and containers for others to do the same. Thank you for being in community with us. And I look forward to this conversation and our ongoing work to be in transformative solidarity with Black lives. I believe that we will win, and we can't stop won't stop until our Black siblings are free, and we will all be free.